we have an advantage in that we're a community and we're already in the community. We are have offered hearing voices groups and alternatives to suicide groups in the community, and we have community centers. But we put out ads, and in the interview process, we would include, just asking people what are their thoughts. What are their thoughts about the traditional mental health system? And we would throw out scenarios. If this is happening and this is happening, what might you do? And not with an expectation that everybody's going to have a great response, but and we would have to tell people, speak from your heart. Don't give us the answer you think we want. Tell us. And so when people could get in the perspective or have a curiosity about what the other person is going through, if they had a natural tendency to want to be supportive versus controlling, that gave us a clue. And I also want to say it's really important and sometimes challenging to hire a variety of people. So people with different backgrounds and representing different demographics, so that when you have different communities come in, like depending on what kind of communities are in your area, whether it's a language issue, a culture issue, do you have staff that can partner with people? It can be really jarring to go like from the inner city to, the wealthy small town urban setting. Like how, do we have a staff that can represent lots of different race, gender, class, poverty, racism, sexism, that they all impact how somebody feels about being in the world.
Yeah.
It's part of somebody's experience, and it's really important to be able to find people that, if they don't look like me, are they at least educated on some of the issues I've gone through? And so that is how we did. We already had a community and to consider, and we also did the typical put ads out. In Massachusetts, we have a certified peer specialist training. I think every state has some version of that, but it just didn't work out in Massachusetts to draw from that pool. I think like in the states where they use IPS as a foundation for their peer support trainings, it would have been easier. Um, and so there are people who have never, they've had their own experience in the mental health system, but they had never had an experience being in a peer support role, and they worked out wonderfully. But that's the key. If somebody says to me, "Oh, I could take the person down," or "I'll call 911," nope, that's not going to be the person we want to hire. Or if somebody could be honest enough and say, "I'm not sure what I would want to do, but this is what I'd be afraid of, and this is what I hope we could do," that we could work with.